world, it is Sheila, and let's chat about the Enneagram. So this weekend I went on a retreat with my girlfriend. It was like Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, so almost a 3-day retreat. And we went deep diving into the Enneagram. And it's funny because I went in very confident. I was a 9-wing 8, and I just have felt so confident in those numbers. And I came out Sunday not so confident, and I'm kind of like, wow, huh. And so the people that were putting it on, the lady has been doing it for like 15 plus years, and she spent the first, I think, 10 years thinking she was one number and realized she was a different number. So I guess it happens, and especially, I haven't done a big, huge deep dive into it. I've just, listened to podcasts, read some books, and was like, oh, yeah, this sounds like me. That works for me. And so then deep diving all weekend long, I realized there's people that were 9s who were sitting on the panel who were talking, and she was going through characteristics, and I relate to a lot of things about being a 9, but a lot of things I'm like, oh no, I that's not me. That's not my thought process. That's not why I do what I do. And then we got to the other number, and there's an artist out there that has written songs about all 9 of the Enneagrams numbers, and puts lyrics in a song to them all. And when they were playing this song and I was reading the lyrics up on the screen, I got teary-eyed, and it was just like, whoa. And when they played the 9 song and asked, do you relate to that? I'm like, not so much. So that was my first, like, whoa, what is this all about, or this other number? And so it is the number 4. And every time I've read about the 4 in books, they talk about this, like, sad, conflicted artists who are just always moody and melancholy, and that's how they paint the picture of the 4. And so I remember reading about it and going, oh, that's not me. And I just put off a 4 because I'm not melancholy. I mean, yes, I can get melancholy. I think everybody can. But I'm mostly a happy person. And I didn't relate to the moody. I guess I'm moody in the sense of my moods change. But to me, that's not a big deal because I love being in the emotions, and I love all the different feels. So I'm not, like, caught off guard by emotions and feelings, and so I don't feel like I'm all over the place. Maybe when I was younger, like I said in another video, and maybe some people might describe me as moody in the sense of I'm affected by moods. But when I think of moody, I would think that, these temperamental, all over the board, high, like, I think more like, maybe like bipolar type of mood swings. But obviously that's the extreme. So as I was listening to more about the 4 and the 9, what I learned was, even though they're not in the same, like the head and the heart, and they don't share that, but they both share being the withdrawing types. And I know I'm in a withdrawing type. And where 9s, or how 9s withdraw, are they disassociate from themselves and their feelings and will numb out with distraction so they don't have to deal with their emotions. Fours, on the other hand, will withdraw from, like people and things and go more into themselves and be in those emotions. They like to go in their little inner world and swim around in all the feels, and that is very much me. I don't disassociate with my feelings ever. It's like if I'm sad, I ooh, let's be sad and let's figure out why I'm sad and figure out this and work with this emotion and that emotion, and I will just go into myself until I figure it out and can process those emotions and be good. So that was number one big huge red flag of 9 and the 4. I'm like, that's the 4 for sure, for sure. The other thing, I very much late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, I've always romanticized things, romanticized people and friendships and vacations and boyfriends and that type of relationships. I always made them bigger and better in my mind, and then when reality slapped me in the face, it was crushing. I'd be like, well, that's not what I envisioned a friend to be. That's not what I envisioned having a boyfriend like. That's not what I envisioned our vacation to be. And I would be so let down and upset because nothing ever lived up to my picture I painted in my mind of what something or someone should have been. And I relate very hard to that aspect. I forgot about a lot of that because as life happens and reality slaps you in the face every morning, you learn to, or at least I have learned to take things at face value and not have so many expectations about things because I'm just have been disappointed over and over and over in my life. So I go into things without much expectations anymore, without romanticizing things. And maybe a little bit, I'll still get caught up on some things. If we plan a vacation, I'm like, oh, it's going to be so great. We're going to do this, and it's going to feel like this. And it's not even more of the sensory. It's like the emotions I fantasize about. This is going to be the best because it's going to bring out this feeling and that feeling, and it's all about the disappointment and emotions. For example, our first year of marriage, I went in, I think a lot of people, they don't know what to expect in marriage, and you think it might be one way or not, especially if you read a lot of books or saw all these beautiful love stories of Prince Charming and you sweep you off your feet. And I think, everybody has a little bit of that. But after the first year of marriage, it was like a reality check of, holy crap, this is not what the movies and the books made it out to be. And I really struggled our first year of going, is this it? Is this what the reality is going to be? And even though it was great on so many things, it was that romanticizing bit me in the butt big time. And we got in this huge fight right around a year, and we had gone to see some movie of this couple who was this perfect husband and they had this perfect relationship. And I remember sitting throughout this whole movie getting angrier and angrier, and I'm like, he doesn't do that. That's not how he acts. That's, and getting so worked up in my mind. And on the car ride home, I was quiet, and then I snapped. We got home, and I snapped on him. I'm like, you're not like this. I mean, just picked the biggest fight with him, and he was just blindsided, whoa. And I just remember going, I don't know if I want to do this. You're not, and came back down to reality, and but and I have done that so much in my life. And the comparing myself to others, very much, I have all my whole life. I mean, I am so hard on myself. I mean, I always like, oh, I have to weigh a certain amount because that's what society values. I have to look a certain way. I'm so hard on myself. And I judge myself against others a lot. Even nowadays, I'm like, oh, I'll see an older lady out there, running down the street, exercising. I'm like, oh, I should be exercising. She's like my age. Should be out there. I should be doing that. And just that constant comparing, which is probably a lot of women do in a way, but I think I do it, a fair amount that I shouldn't, and it's not healthy, and I know it's not healthy. And I've gotten much better. I've gotten older. I've learned to just, embrace myself of who I am and my talents and my gifts. But it's still hard to not first go there about a lot of things. I'm not like a materialistic person, so I've never compared myself to, they have a nicer house, or look at that car. That stuff I could care less about. I think it's just like things that I value that I will judge myself against others. Like, oh, okay, I should be doing this. I could be doing that, and got that competitive streak in me. And so I related to a lot about the 4, and so I don't know. I'm going to do a little more deep dive into a 4 versus a 9. I haven't, decided one way or the other yet, but I definitely was very eye-opening about the 4. And I think I need to get more perspective on normal, everyday 4s that don't relate to being these troubled, sad people all the time, because I'm not. And maybe because there's different levels of healthy with the Enneagram, and I'm trying to even think back at when I was younger. Like, I don't feel like I was ever really sad. I mean, I definitely had some very sad, dark moments in my life, like probably most everybody does. So yeah, if you are a 4, what helped you to decide? Were there certain books that you read or podcasts you listened to? Or if you're a 9, what made you think 9 or 4? I'm definitely a withdrawing type, so it would be either a 9 or a 4. And there's one other withdrawing type, the 1. The 1, and I'm so not a 1 at all. Far away from a 1. So yeah, all right. Leave me a message and let me know if you're a 4. Let me know if you're a 9. And one thing that stands out the most, why you chose that number, or why that number chose you. All right. Have a great day. Bye.